In this CAD clip, we're going to show you a couple of enhancements that have been added to REVIT 2013. So once again, this is REVIT Architecture and Structure and MEP 2013 we're using here, all bundled together, codenamed OneBox. And one of the very basic features is being able to delete a single segment within a dimension string. So quick enough to demonstrate that off my quick access toolbar. I'll just pick on my align dimension and start over here. I'm in an MEP file, but it doesn't matter. Click on here, move over to over to this diffuser or unit. Click on there, and I want the center line of that HVAC piece of ductwork. So I'm going to go tab to pick a center line, and then I'm going to hover here, tab to pick there. I'm just playing around. It doesn't really matter where I go to these center lines. Center line of that wall, tab over to here, and then just click to place that. Escape, escape on the keyboard. Okay, so the big deal now is I can go in here at any point, hover over this dimension, tab, and pick on that one segment and delete. That's it. And now this becomes one segment, and this guy becomes another segment. So it just basically splits up the dimension segments when you delete an internal dimension line on a continuous string. And our next little enhancement with our 2013 REVIT is the diameter dimension with a nice little diameter symbol in there as an option. So I'm just going to zoom in here. We could draw some walls in a circle, or a sketch line, or a dimension line, or a detail line, or anything that's really circular that we want to get a diameter off of. So I'm just going to, on my annotation tab, click on my detail lines, and I'll just use, electrical power line is good. And I'll use a circle. And click, and out I go. Escape, escape on the keyboard. And then on my annotate tab, I have my diameter symbol. And of course, we can say add that to the quick access toolbar over here, so we have it available anytime. Hover over the edge anywhere, pick once, move your mouse around like every other dimension, and place it. Okay, escape, escape. If you click on the dimension itself and go into edit type, we've got some options in here. So you'll notice I've got a 15-degree tick mark. I think the default is set to be none. We can hit apply on that. So I think that's what it originally looks like, but I like to have my 15-degree filled arrowhead. We've seen that in other dimension properties as before. And line weight, tick mark, line weight. This is fairly similar to dimensions in the past. Color and stuff. Text information, not really much change there as far as the size and the font and background opaque or transparent and your bold symbols. We've got some other stuff down in here. So first of all, we have a center mark. We can turn that on, hit apply, and it gets rid of that little X that's out here in the middle. Turn that back on, and then you can set the size of it inside of there when this is turned on. Diameter symbol location before, and this is the diameter symbol, and all this is an ANSI code that is pasted in there from, for instance, Word or word processor. So all this is that symbol that we've been able to use with other software applications, and all you really do is you paste it in. There's no real pick list in here. So you could change this to be, any letter of the, you can just type text in there. So this is a pasted symbol that you would go and get from a word processor in the symbol library there. And before or after, so we can say, after, and then it puts the symbol in the back. Or you can say none and hit apply, and it gets kind of grayed out. Okay, so no big deal on there. So if you want to go get that symbol or any other symbol, go to your word processor and use the symbol insert symbol, and then basically insert one and then copy and paste that right here into Revit, and that's it. You hit apply. You've got a nice little diameter symbol on there. So we could have done that with walls as well. Back to architecture, wall, circular. Set our wall type and our wall heights, of course. And then go get my nice little diameter symbol. And of course I can use my tab key to pick different edges of that wall. Okay. Pick the outside edge, spin it around, place it. Okay. Escape, escape. And the walls here are gray, of course, because the discipline of my view, I'm in an MEP file here, so I'm set to be mechanical. But if I set this to be coordination, for instance, then I'll be able to see a little bit more detail. So nothing too exciting, but our nice new enhanced diameter dimension. And the next little thing we're going to talk about with our Revit 2013 with dimensions is the equal or equality parameter that we can use to constrain objects. So here you can see we have these diffusers or air terminals here. And what I'm going to do is put an equal spacing parameter in my dimension across here, and we'll watch those. First of all, we'll watch them respace, and then we'll see how we can handle that labeling of those equal spacing. So I'll start with just a regular align dimension off my quick access toolbar, and I'll hit cancel on my save. I'll go from the edge of this piece of ductwork, hover over there to the center of my object. If I'm not snapping to the center, I can zoom in or hit my tab button. I can pick either one of those center lines. Then pick the edge of my ductwork over here. Scroll out. Okay, slide up. There's my dimension right there. Get back into position a little bit and pick. Now we get there our little equal symbol there. I can pick it now if I want and it'll respace it, but let's just assume I forget to, so I pick out, I can hit escape, and I come back later and say, oh, I want that evenly spaced. Well, I just have to pick, and there's that equal symbol again. I'm going to pick right on that little symbol, and you'll notice what it does is it makes them all equal, spaces them, and then I can click out, and by default it puts the symbol EQ in there. So I just want to talk a little bit about that. If you pick on the dimension type, and we go into edit type to change the type, and this is the type of dimension style or dimension it is, we can look at some information down inside here, which has not really changed. Some tick mark size and text and font and witness line length and offsets and all that wonderful stuff. And then down here in the very bottom we have some other new parameters, and one is the equality text. Actually, it isn't new, and we can type whatever we want. If we want it to just say equal instead of EQ, we can go in there and hit apply, and it'll say the word equal. Okay, and then we can hit OK. Okay, and then I can click out. So now there's type parameters and instance parameters. If I click on here, I'll see instance parameters. You'll notice the instance parameter says equality display, equality text. So if you say text, if you say show me the value and click on here, it's an instance parameter and it'll show you the value clicking out instead of saying equal. It'll still be equally spaced. If you try to move one of these, it's going to give you a warning that you're unconstraining them. So if you pick on here, you have an instance parameter of saying, I want to see the value, I want to see the equality text, or you can say, I want to see the equality formula. If you say equality formula, it defers to the formula setting in the type parameters. And if I click out here, when you go to formula, it just puts in one number in the middle, and we can manipulate that. We're going to talk about that. So once again, if I go to here and I set this to be equality text, it's going to say the text. Okay, and if I say value, it's going to actually put in the numbers. So we'll leave it at the equality text for now. Okay, now we're going to go back in the edit type properties, and the text it's going to put in is this text. That's the EQ. If you just want to say EQ and then period, put that in and then hit OK. And as long as this says equality text, it'll have the EQ and the period in there. Okay, so back into here, back into the edit type properties, back to the bottom. And down in here, this is where the newest stuff is, the equality formula. If you pick in here, right now it's set, if I set the equality display back here in the instance parameter to say use this formula, that's why it put in the total length. Okay, so I'm just going to pick on total length. I'm going to remove that. What I'm going to do is it's going to put one piece of text right in the middle. So watch what I'm going to do. I have these 4 basic fields I can add. So watch, I'm going to say, I'm just going to put them all in to let you see what it does. I'm going to add this, and it says 1 space, and we can't seem to be able to change that. So I'm going to go to my suffix and put a bunch of spaces in there. Then I'm going to take this guy and add it in next. Click in here, put some spaces, take this guy, add it in next, click in here, see suffix and prefix, and then lastly add that in. So it's going to display the length of each segment, the length of the segment, the number of segments, the number of witness lines, and the total length, just so you can see it all. Hit apply. Hit OK. Hit OK. Now what we have to do as the instance parameters change this to say, okay, show me that little formula thing. So if I click out, it's going to say total length, or sorry, segment length of 3764. There's 4 segments, there's 5 witness lines, and the total length is this. So you can put little @ symbols and stuff in here. So the idea is, if you wanted to, you could pick on here, edit type. You might want to say duplicate to make a new type so you don't change this one. And then go down in here and fix this a little bit. I'm going to take these one at a time and remove them. Okay, and start again. So I'm going to say, well, length of segment I want. So I want it to say length of segment. So like 337.54. And then I'm going to say, no, I want to say number of segments first. So I'm going to pick in here and put number of segments first. Oh, it doesn't give you a chance to move them up and move them down. So you have to remove them. Number of segments, like 4 at, and then I'm going to say length of segment, okay, and hit OK and watch what it does. It's going to say 4 at 37.64. Now I can make that look even a little nicer by going in here and editing again and saying OK, back to my formula. And I'm going to say number of segments at, now look, I'm going to put a space in here, space, space. So that's going to say 4 space at, and I'm not even going to say 4, I'm going to say 4 terminals. Space, and I'm even going to put a little couple of spaces in front of this. Watch. Okay, prefix puts something in front of this field. Suffix puts it after it. Okay, now this one you can actually say how many spaces you want. Okay, the first one would, for whatever reason, you can't. So I'm just going to, that won't matter because I'm not putting anything after it. So space-based terminals at, watch, hit apply. And now if I move out, it's not going to show up till I close here, I guess, and hit apply. 4 terminals at, oh, that same problem with the spaces. So at, so now we need a prefix maybe. Oh, let's take this. Spaces, is that what we need? Hit OK, hit apply. There we go. Boom. 4 terminals at 3764. Okay, so what happens if we delete one of these terminals? Okay, take my press and drag off, grab this guy, delete it. Okay, what's it going to do? It's going to maybe have a problem because this is going to try to slide over here. Oh, it just takes it out and gets rid of the equal. Basically eliminates the equality constraint is what it's done there. Okay, undo, bring it back. So that's it, nothing too exciting. Pick on your dimension object, make sure this says formula or value or equal text, and then just go in here. Again, maybe put a duplicate it and call this one a formula dimension so it doesn't get used with other dimensions. That would be the wise thing to do. Go in here and duplicate, give it a new name, and probably call it formula based, and then go down here and then change this stuff inside of here. So really you've got four different fields that you can put in here. Total length of everything, number of witness lines, number of segments, length of each segment. Bring them in one at a time, put them in order, get your spaces and your prefixes and suffixes and stuff like that set up, and away you go. So that's it for our Revit 2013 dimension enhancements. For regular Revit dimensioning, lots of lessons, of course, you can always go to www.cadclips.com. Bye for now.